The CEO's wife doesn't know we're already divorced. At the business gala, she watched me holding hands tightly with a young woman, smiled and said, "You look quite busy, darling husband." I looked at her first love, red-eyed in her embrace. We're even now. That night, she cornered me in the room. For once, her eyes reddened as she demanded to know why. I didn't answer, just found it laughable. Clearly, she couldn't forget her first love in her heart. The whole world knew she married me, because her first love had fled on our wedding day. So I wore an ill-fitting suit to marry a woman who couldn't even remember my name. Friends and relatives all secretly pitied me. I was just a substitute for my wife's first love. Even on our wedding night, halfway through, called away by her first love, I didn't make a fuss. She frequently flew abroad to visit her first love. I stayed silent, said nothing, until the night Sophie Anderson's first love got divorced. I accidentally overheard him asking her with reddened eyes, "You're back now. Do you still want to marry me?" Sophie Anderson was silent for a moment, firmly answered, "Yes," and at that instant, I knew it was time to return Sophie Anderson's position as wife. The next day I gave her the divorce papers. She didn't even look. Signed while chatting with her first love. Left hurriedly without hearing what I had to say. I watched that woman's retreating figure. A flash of self-mockery crossed my heart. Really wanted to know what her face would look like when she learned the truth. Still half a month to go before we could get the divorce certificate. I used this time to pack my things. Say goodbye to friends and brothers. Sophie Anderson rarely came to pick me up to go home. On the way back, she suddenly remembered something and spoke. "Ethan Chen. Half a month ago. What was that document you had me sign? Only remembering to ask now?" That's right. She'd been completely focused on Marcus' song lately. How could she care about such trivial matters? I curled my lips. Just about to speak. Sophie Anderson's phone rang. "Sophie. I'm drunk. My head hurts so much, can you come pick me up?" Hearing the plaintive voice on the other end, Sophie Anderson gripped the steering wheel. Her slender fingers turned slightly pale. Her expression suddenly darkened. "Marcus' song. I've told you many times. I'm married." The other side was quiet for a moment before saying, "So what if you're married? The groom at that wedding should have been me." This indifferent tone made Sophie Anderson angry. 3 years of marriage. I'd seen only her cold, composed demeanor. This was the first time I saw her lose control. She slammed on the brakes. The tires screeched loudly against the pavement. "Are you coming or not?" Silence on the other end. After a while, the voice became choked. "Sorry. I won't bother you anymore." Quickly hung up. But Sophie Anderson's expression didn't improve. After a long time, she finally gave in completely. As if accepting fate, typed a few words. "Send the address." Looking at the address sent over, she turned back, full of guilt. I knew what she wanted to say. Quickly spoke first. "Go ahead if you have something to do. I'll take a taxi home." Watching me open the car door with an umbrella, Sophie Anderson finally felt guilty. Said softly, "Wait for me, I'll be right back." I nodded, standing in the rain, watching her car speed away. Complex emotions welling up in my eyes. This is the 7th year I've loved Sophie Anderson. I still remember the first time in the dance studio. Fell in love at first sight. She wore a dance practice dress, her figure graceful. With her own strength, became the champion of the state dance competition. Became the iconic figure who captivated the entire auditorium. In the pouring rain, I sent Sophie Anderson a message. "The document you asked about. It's in the passenger seat drawer. If you want to know what it is, open it and look." Half an hour later, I was home. Sophie Anderson only replied with one sentence, "No need. If you gave it to me to sign, it can't be harmful." Meaning she wouldn't look at it. Of course, she was rushing to pick up the drunk Marcus song. How could she have time to look? Even though it was right within her reach. The rain fell all day. Only cleared up the next afternoon. I stayed home all day. Silently deleting all our post-marriage social media posts. Deleted everything clean. After clearing out friends, I logged out. Caught a glimpse of Marcus Song's newly posted 9-photo grid. Yacht vacation photos. Every angle was perfect, revealing a woman's soft, delicate hand. I knew it was Sophie Anderson. Also knew Marcus Song did it on purpose. But I no longer cared about such trivial matters. I turned off my phone. Got up and went to the kitchen to make salad. Just finished dinner. Sophie Anderson suddenly came home, looking at the cake in her hand. I paused. Don't you dislike sweets? Why did you suddenly buy cake? Sophie Anderson walked over, looking at my dinner. Frowned slightly. Today's your birthday. Did you forget? Why are you eating so simply? I froze. When I was 4, my parents divorced. Left me with my grandmother. At 15, 16, grandmother passed away. No one cared for me. I stopped celebrating birthdays too. But in these 3 years married to Sophie Anderson, she remembered every year. Even when busy, came home to celebrate with me. When I traveled far, she worried for my safety. Even came to the airport to pick me up during thunderstorms. Knowing I was scared, she gently comforted me. I thought these inadvertent kindnesses and care were love too. Until our 1-month anniversary, Sophie Anderson used work as an excuse to cancel the romantic dinner we'd reserved. Disappointed, I was called to the bar by James to bring a jacket. Accidentally ran into Marcus Song. He was completely drunk, holding the person who should have been working overtime at the company. Refusing to let go, Sophie Anderson's face darkened, angrily pulled away. Marcus Song. Stop being crazy, let go. What do you take me for? Something you can throw away and pick up as you please? Marcus Song didn't hear what she said. Stubbornly used his pulled away hands to embrace her waist again. Over and over, tirelessly. Finally Sophie Anderson compromised and gave in. She stood there. Marcus Song. What do you want from me? At that moment, the bag in my hand fell. Many images flashed through my mind. Hands clasped tightly through the crowd. The tilted umbrella on rainy days. Every moment was evidence of Sophie Anderson's love for Marcus Song. I'd witnessed those moments firsthand. So I couldn't deny this truth. Despite 3 years of marriage, despite becoming her husband, despite receiving some of her favor, none could deny. To be precise, the bit of goodness Sophie Anderson gave me was just what I stole from Marcus Song's temporary absence. I held onto this sweetness, naively thinking I had everything. But in reality, I never possessed her. Not even for a minute or second. So looking at the 24 on the birthday cake, my heart didn't stir. I just politely nodded, said thank you. Sophie Anderson lit the candles, smiled and said, Ethan Chen, we're husband and wife. Don't say such formal thank yous. Make a wish. I nodded, just about to stand up. Sophie Anderson's phone rang. Looking at her slightly trembling eyes, I guessed who was calling, sat back down. And just as I predicted, a minute later the phone hung up. Sophie Anderson left too, hearing the car outside the window. Growing distant, a bitter smile crossed my lips. The room wasn't lit. The candles flickered, casting my lonely shadow on the wall. I clasped my hands and made my 24-year-old wish. In my new year, I won't love Sophie Anderson anymore. Saw her again 3 days later, at our college class of 21 reunion. She was surrounded by everyone in the center. Seeing me, she came to sit beside me. Looking at us sitting together, the atmosphere in the room became strange. I knew it was because of me. After all, in these college classmates' eyes, I married Sophie Anderson, just to skip struggling for a few years. So everyone looked down on me. But I didn't care about these malicious speculations. Sat quietly without making a sound. The class president arrived late carrying a large paper box. Greeted everyone. Invited everyone to the reunion today. First to reconnect. 5 years ago. The activity of writing letters to ourselves 5 years later. Time's up now. Let's look at them together today. Everyone rushed forward. Noise without end. Let's play something fun. Each person randomly picks one to read. How about it? Sounds good. Let me pick first. The most outgoing male student in class pushed into the crowd. First to pick one. The people around urged unknowingly. Hurry and open the envelope. Clearing his throat, he opened the letter. Me 5 years later, how are you? Right now I am writing to you under the sunshine. Though I don't know when you read this letter.